Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at Delta Center today for today's exciting media availability to cap off what has been a great draft, free agency, and development camp week for Utah Hockey Club. Today, we will have two separate media availabilities, beginning with Utah General Manager Bill Armstrong, Head Coach Andre Torini, and newly acquired two-time Stanley Cup champion Mikhail Sergachev. After, we will introduce our President of Hockey Operations, Chris Armstrong, and following his availability, we will have a photo op and then one-on-one opportunities. Now we will open the floor for questions for Bill, Bear, and Mikhail. As a kind reminder, please state your name and affiliation before your question.
Morning, guys. Matt Coma with NHL.com. First off, Mikhail, welcome to Utah. And just your reaction to the trade and how excited are you to be a part of this franchise?
Thank you. Well, at first, obviously, it was a shock. I didn't expect it. I wasn't expecting to be traded. I was actually carrying out trash from my apartment and got a call. And I remember when I got a call from Montreal when I got traded. So it was kind of the same feeling because I know nothing about Utah. And but then I was talking to my agent, talking to some players, and actually talked to Keller. Everybody said great things about Utah and new franchise, and talked to Bill, coach. So it was great. And now I got here. It's pretty amazing, honestly. The whole setup, the city, and I'm very excited. Honestly, it's a big opportunity for me to prove myself. Being a leader. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Morning, guys. Alex Timolip with the Hockey News here. Mikhail, you've played against Clayton for quite a few years now. Now you get to be teammates with him, but you also get to be teammates with another guy that you know very well, Ian Cole, who also signed earlier this week. Can you just talk about what it was like to play with him for a season and like what you really learned from him as a defenseman that made you a well-rounded player?
I actually played against Keller for, 13 years, maybe 14, because we grew up playing against each other, even the little tournaments, Triple A's and stuff. Keller is a tremendous player. Reminds me a lot of Cooch, obviously, and he kind of looks the same and kind of skates the same deception. Very good player. Colsey is a warrior. He puts his body on the line and blocks tons of shots, plays defense, hits. He's all in for a team, and you could see it in the playoffs. I watched Vancouver. He was great for them, and he's just a tremendous defender that, all of us, all of our D-Corps can learn from him a lot.
Sam Farnsworth, KSL Sports. Mikhail, correct me if I'm wrong. You talked about not expecting to be traded. You had the no trade clause in your contract. What was it that ultimately helped you make that decision to waive that clause and be like, this is where I want to extend my career?
So I got traded 2 days before that kicked in, so I had no choice. But yeah, but I think if knowing it now, I would probably waive it.
Bill, Ryan Miller, KSL.com. Could you just take us through how this deal came to be?
Well, we had tried to rebuild our defense, obviously, once the season had ended. And, when you look at championship teams, you try to replicate a little bit of what they've done on the backside. And one of the things that Tampa's actually done a great job for winning cups where the majority of their D-men weren't drafted. Hedman was probably one of the guys that was, but everybody else was traded for. So, we always had reached out to every team in the National Hockey League that had a number one defenseman and just planted a seed and just said, hey, listen, if you ever, think about it, I know you wouldn't do it right now, but if you ever think about it, we've got the assets that can get this trade done if you want to go down that path. So we tried to do that and plant a lot of seeds. And, when the deal kind of came around late at night, after the first day of the draft, slept on it, came back, and I just thought to myself, like, as an organization, when do you get a chance to add a number one D-man to your roster? At 26 years old, that's won 2 championships. It doesn't come around. That opportunity doesn't come around, and we jumped on it. For us, and I know Bear and I had worked a lot trying to redo the defense and get it to a position where, you know, it could almost match our forwards up front and move without pinning ourselves down in free agency and doing long-term deals with, you know, players that sometimes are at 30 years old. This was the deal that could help our franchise take that next step, and we were able to pull it off.
Scott Gerard with KSL Sports Zone. Coach, I want to get your perspective on what Mikhail brings and what that allows you as a X's and O's standpoint, that advantages you had that maybe you didn't have in the past.
Well, that's a really good question, but I need probably 20 minutes to answer that. I think he's a well-rounded guy. He played good defense. He moves the puck really well. His puck moving is really good. He has a good shot. He play power play, play PK, and he's a proven guy. He's not a. The discussion we had with Bill is, Bill and I, we talk a lot about our team were in development, so we had to groom player who play in certain role and see what they can do in the NHL on the PK, on the shutdown role, on the power play, those kind of things. But we are in the situation where we want a proven player who done it, not just we will try to make them do it. So Sergei is exactly that kind of a player. He's been in championship game. He's been in pressure game. He's been on the ice when the game is plus one goal, lead by one or trail by one at the end of the game in an elimination game. He was one of those guys who was on the ice in those big moments. So that's really exciting for not just him. We still have a young group of defensemen. We still a young group, so he will bring experience. I think the addition of Ian Cole will bring experience. So we're making step in the right direction, and I think what Sergei can bring. We have a lot of your question. You talk about system. We have a lot of similarity with Tampa in terms of system, not necessarily exactly the same way we play, but there's similarity. So I like that because Sergei will be quicker for him to adapt and to adjust how we play. So I'm really confident that will be a smooth transition.
Mikhail, just on that note, say you bring a ton of experience into a fairly young team here in Utah. What skill sets, what leadership qualities can you bring to this blue line and to the team in general? What are you looking forward to getting message-wise to these guys?
I mean, I'm not, I'm from Russia, obviously. English is not my first language, but I don't really like speaking a lot in the room. But, I kind of follow the leaders that I had before, like Stemmer, he's a great leader, Hedy. And most of the time they just play and they go out there and show by their example what they can do, and that speaks for itself. So I feel like I'm going to do the same, and I'm just going to focus on that, playing the right way, and try to win as many games as possible, put my body on the line. I've always done it, blocked on the shots, and obviously points and goals are a big part of that, of success of the team. But I think first of all, if you play defense, you succeed, because obviously we have a tremendous group of forwards that were tough to play against, honestly. When we played in Arizona, it was, chasing those little bugs out there, it was not fun. So, that's why, if we focus on defense, offense will take care of itself. So that's what I'm going to focus on.
Bill, I remember in your press conference last Sunday when we were at Grand America, you kind of talked about, how building that St. Louis Blues championship team required a lot of patience, and it required a lot of learning through pain. And I know Mikhail went through really the biggest one when, as the President's Trophy winners, they got swept in the first round by Columbus. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Mikhail, to bring that up. I know it was 6 years ago, but Bill, I remember you were the assistant GM at the time at St. Louis, and you watched that happen. What kind of experience through that kind of learning through patience do you think Mikhail can bring to this Utah club?
Well, it's a lot of learning through pain and having the patience to get through it and continue with your process. And for our group, we went through it last year. There was a good chunk of the season where it got painful for us with the losing streak, and I think, you know, the players were so resilient by the end of the year where, you know, news broke again and it didn't even faze them. And I think that's what you see. You have to go through it, you know, whether you're, you know, coach and juniors went through it before. You know, if you're going to win a championship, there's going to be some pain. It's going to leave a scar, and you're going to come back fighting a little bit harder. And you know, we hope to, by adding obviously Mikhail and Stenlin and Ian Cole, they're Stanley Cup winners. They're going to help push us through those hard times, along with our young group that's been through a little bit already. That's a good mix to go into the start of the season, and we're really looking forward to having some Stanley Cup winners on our team driving the bus and helping us get over the hump.
Any more questions?
You know, you talk about the steps, Bill, in building this team, and do you feel like you've mixed the right amount of veterans through trades as well as the draft? Do you feel like you're walking that line and that balance well in this offseason so far?
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, you know, obviously we try to plan for the future. You're going to watch the future out there today, and there's some really talented kids coming in. But we also, you know, with coach and myself and the staff, we're pretty transparent about sitting down and explaining, you know, and try and bring kids in when it's the right time for them, where they can help us win. We're in a different phase of the organization now. We're moving along where we want to, you know, get to the other side of it, you know. And for us, with the young kids coming in, which you'll watch today, if you can put them in the right process and bring them in when they can help the team, it's more effective for the player. It's way better for the organization. We're getting to that steps, and you saw that last year where Gunther went to the minors. You know, he went down there and played down there, and all of a sudden he came back. He was a different player. So for us, we're getting to the point where we can help groom our players a little bit in the minors, and then when they come to the NHL, they're not in survival mode; they're in push mode, and that's where we want to get our team to. So I think we've taken the right steps in the off season. You know, adding Marino and Sergachev and Stenlin and all these guys that are coming in now, and Cole. They're going to help us with that nice balance of having some veteran players push the young guys and help guiding us.
Oh, I'm all the way back here. So, hi, Andrea Urban with Fox 13. I just wanted to ask you guys, Bill and Coach, post-development camp. I mean, you just mentioned your posts, your off-season, and kind of what you guys have been doing, but this was the first time you got to see your team on the ice together. So what can Utah Hockey Club fans expect to see today, and how are you feeling after a hopefully successful development camp?
I'll go first and then pass it to Bear. We're extremely excited to go on that ice today with those colors. Are you kidding me? Fans in the building in the middle of summer. What's better than that? We get excited to see our young players. You know, there's 5 first-rounders going out there today that are pushing, and it's going to be exciting to see that whole group go out there. But it's exciting to see it come together, and the bonus is having Mikhail here today with us and to see a little bit of Utah. Obviously, those guys that are out there today, they got a long way to go, but it's exciting. And I think just being in this building, it's going to be a great day for us.
Yeah, I'm with Bill. I think you see the level of talent when we start 3 years ago during Dev Camp, and what we have today. I think it's refreshing. We got excited all week when we saw a player at 6'1". We thought he was the smallest guy in the group at that size. So we have a lot of talent. We have size. We're spread out through every position. So it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to see all our players. You know, you talk about the first rounder. That's absolutely, it's exciting. You see those high level athletes, but you want to see all the other guys. And there's always a late bloomer. There's always a guy who will make his way by determination, character, or might be a late bloomer, or so on and so forth. So it's exciting to follow the path of those guys.
Mikhail, obviously, there's of course a big playing style shift coming from the Eastern Conference to the Western Conference. And maybe with the exception of Florida and Tampa and your team, your former team Tampa in the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference prides itself on physicality. Like, what do you think you can bring that will be able to, you know, continue to pass along let me try and actually gather my words here. It's Friday. I guess what can you bring to the table that will help continue to drive that physical, gritty edge for this team?
Well, obviously I love hitting, but you try to be smart about that when you play like 25, 27, 23 minutes. If you just go out there and you start hitting everything, you'll be tired by, I don't know, second period probably. So it's got to be timed perfectly, and it's got to be smart, because I don't want to say you got to save yourself and save your legs, but you have to be smart about how you play, and it's got to be timed. So, but at the same time, you got to be aggressive all the time. But I don't want to sound kind of soft, but you don't always have to finish checks. So those times are past. The game is changing, and it's quicker guys that make plays, that have grit, that actually play. And, those times of just guys running around and killing each other, I think, are past now. So you have to use your brain more than your muscles. And but at the same time, I'm an aggressive player, and if I don't play aggressive, I feel like I'm slow or I'm out of the game, kind of. So I'm just gonna use my legs, use my speed, and when I need to, I'm gonna lay, a hit. So, but for me, it's not all about that. It's about being aggressive everywhere, not just on defense, but on offense too. Actually, your defense starts on offense, so that's, you got to be smart about doing that. Yeah.
Jackson Payne, Deseret News. Bill, with the draft in the rearview mirror now and having made a few big trades, development camp in full swing, how do you feel about the team's offseason this far? Have you guys done what you set out to do? How would you evaluate the team's offseason?
Yes, I think it's been an exciting time just preparing for the draft, and then obviously free agency and meeting with our group and just making sure that we're moving the right direction. I think it's been very successful because we followed the plan. We were smart in free agency in the sense that most of our free agency work was done at the draft where we made the trades, and we put in players that are in place that they match our age of our team, and they allow us to move forward. So when our team is good, they're at a good age to help us get over the top. And it's not vice versa, where we're signing guys today that we're extremely excited about, and then when our team's really, really good, we're burdened with the contract and age. And so we tried to stick to that plan of making sure that we were able to, make our defense a lot better, which I thought we did with our 3 additions, and getting Jersey signed and the rest of the crew signed. I think we accomplished what we wanted. We went into the draft, and there's not many times that you can pull off 2 trades, and draft 2 first-rounders and a boatload of other guys. It's pretty exciting times for our organization. I will say this, the man on the far left absorbed a lot of pain to get to this point, because he was down there when, I signed him as a coach, brought him into the organization, and then traded all the players. So there's no one more happy at this press conference than Coach, because he gets a chance now to move into the future with a good competitive team that's young but can take some steps here.
All right, thank you guys very much. You'll now have Chris Armstrong take the podium.